What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Dot Connect Wednesdays. This is episode 95. I am your host, Chan Bobbitt, co-host, Steve Bayonne. Today, we're going to dive into a bunch of powerful stories that's going on in the crypto space, and we're going to reflect on crypto tech and finance and artificial intelligence. Without further ado, Steve, he's got some AI updates that are wild. I ain't gonna step on your toes, bro. Talk to him about it, and then I'll dive into the crypto stuff.
That's what's up. All right, guys. So listen, if you're not a member, we had a members only call last night where I just started to kind of reflect on this AI situation and just a lot of the negative and I wouldn't even say negative. It's just it's fear-based situations, right? Everybody for the most part can fear the unknown, especially when there's things that say it's going to take jobs and it's going to do this and it's going to get rid of that. But then I'm like, I'm not even on that side because I don't have a traditional job for it to take. Right. And then the more I think about it, I'm like, but damn, I solve problems for a living. So AI needs prompts. I'm an architect. You know what I mean? I'm not a day laborer. And there's nothing wrong with being a day laborer. I'm just telling you that I sit in an architect position, meaning I create from thought. Um, so as I was processing it, I was just like, you know what? I'm spending too much time trying to carry a culture of people who aren't going to take accountability for these changes that are happening. I'm no longer doing that anymore. I'm going to just lead by example. That's what I've been doing. I just don't have the energy to tell people why it's important to have an AI job impact report. You're in a career. It makes total sense, right? I'm building products for people who aren't even, I'm building products that aren't even for me. I'm cool with this AI stuff because I can work alongside of it and it can afford me a lot of time, right? So a little bit of backstory. I've always had innovative ideas since the beginning of time. I went to school for computer science back in the day and I did nothing with that degree. I don't even know how to code anything, put it that way, right? It was just kind of the thing to do in the mid 90s. It's like, oh, computer science, everybody was just kind of on that wave. So that was the major I picked. I don't even know what other classes I took. I didn't have too many coding classes. Steve did not get far in that. Then when I get out of school and I'm starting to create these businesses, the very thing that I needed is what I didn't pick up in school, which was the coding part. Right. Back in those days, there wasn't Fiverr. You didn't have all this connection to coders around the world. It was like you had to know either you knew how to code or you had people that knew how to code. Right. The internet wasn't fully formed yet for you to find coders, especially affordable coders in America at the time. Everything was new. So they were cracking your head open. Now, fast forward to this AI agent situation. We gave you guys a video to watch a couple weeks ago regarding AI agents and how they're going to take jobs in the next, I don't know, I think it said 3 years, right? So it was about 2.5 hours. I watched it twice just to make sure I didn't miss anything. So one of the guys on the panel talked about a program that he built where it eliminates the need for coders. This is what AI agents are for, right? They can effectively just, you could send them out to do whatever you want, right? It could be basic stuff. And in the future, this is where things are going. You won't need the traditional phone to then try to order up food or like you would just have this person working for you or this thing and it will effectively be able to do everything for you. Right. So if I get home at 5 and I need the temperature on 72 degrees in the house by 5:15, I mean, it'll do all that. Right. This is where we're going in the age of technology. Okay. So I'm focusing less on what it's going to take away because I'll be honest, when they take away a lot of the remedial work that's in the workforce now, this is all stuff that doesn't even make you like excited to go to work every day because this is what I hear from people. And drop a one in the chat if you don't like the job that you do. And if you had an option to get a better job, would you put a one in the chat? And if you love what you do and you don't see yourself like you're going to retire in that field, then put a two in the chat. Let me just kind of get a feel for what's happening out here. I can tell you this, people identify who they are by what they do. Hey, my name is Steve. And then the next question is like, oh, so what do you do? Like, that's it. Even for me to answer that nowadays, I'm like thinking about it and coming up with different scripts because I'm a father, I'm a trainer, I'm a psychologist, I'm a medicine man in the house, I'm a herbalist. Um, Shit, I even work sometimes. I'm an educator. Sometimes I'm an influencer online. Whatever it is, I got a lot of titles. So I don't identify by one thing, right? So when that one thing gets taken away from you, what happens is it can turn into a mental health crisis if you can't fulfill that need for wanting to one create income and a livelihood for you and your family, right? Because of an inability to add more value to the ecosystem. Let's be honest, a lot of us are probably robbing a lot of time from our jobs right now. Nobody's working 8 hours nonstop. We could agree on that. Everybody's stealing time some way, somehow. Now you work from home, you got more flexibility. We realize that the job doesn't really require 8 hours, you know? So we got some two in the chats. Cool. No problem. Now, what I'll post to the two in the chat is if you had unlimited amount of money, would you be doing the same stuff you're doing? Put a 0 in the chat if you would. These are my twos only. If you had unlimited amount of money, you didn't have to go to work, would you be doing that thing that made you put a number 2 in still? Hell no. Nah. We got a 0. Got 2 zeros. We weren't put here to work. And I'm telling you, like, as fast as this technology is moving with the amount of data and information we consume, even to just be on these calls for an hour, it's a lot for us to retain. Right. And then every day we're constantly picking up something new. So what I decided to do with the AI situation is instead of teaching people the importance of learning AI, I started to just invest in myself. Right. So we built the first app for the Academy. It's going to be a crypto portfolio management app that is going to manage your portfolio for you. So now you can link your all your wallets, anything that's sitting on an exchange. It'll be able to calculate in real time for you. We added the news that's in relation to the cryptos that you hold. So now you'll get push notifications to your app. That's going to give you all the important news on your app. Then we have not only portfolio management, but then you can also run reports on your portfolio. You could also set up price alerts on the app. What else do we have? You could, now we have we're going to link the Academy to it. So now you can learn on the app, which is going to be powered by Skyton Academy. It's not a Skyton Academy product per se, but we're going to power the learning behind it. Right. And then from there, it'll be a kind of a bait or a hook for people to come join the Academy also. Right. So you have your price alerts. You can set things going up or down. You have a watch list. So if you're watching things, you can do your research. So because what we did was, I noticed when you're in the 9-part beginner's course on the Academy, it has so much information, right? Go to Crypto Panic here for the news. Go to this. There's so many different data aggregators. So what we decided to do is we decided to take those data aggregators, give you exactly what you need, right, in one place for you to be able to find it. Drop a 1 in the chat if that's valuable. So far from the days of having to push somebody else's products at the end of the day, right? You got a bunch of these crypto trackers that we're not utilizing them correctly. They're not built for us, by us, right? They don't really know what we fully need. And they're all really accounting softwares at the end of the day. That's what they're kind of put here for. So I'm just telling you that I was effectively able to put this app together within less than 30 minutes, right? Fully functional website, everything, paywall, you name it. Now, I say that to say that if you're not an architect and you're going in to use AI and you're going to kind of clone and copy certain things, the place that people are going to fail is probably going to be going to market, right? To try to sell your product at the end of the day. Because the prompts, you can kind of give it a prompt to say, I want an app just like this app, right? Maybe you go to ChatGPT, you get all the features from the app, you kind of shit, you can copy the exact model. Then you go to these AI agents and then you tell it exactly what you need. Now, my thing is, I was telling my wife earlier, I'm like, man, there's going to be a whole bunch of CEOs and people who own companies that can never do a live interview about what they do. This kind of reminds me of the influencer world now, where it's like, am I making money off the product that I'm selling? Or am I making money in the industry and showing people how to effectively make money in that industry? Like, I think it's the beginning. Guys make more money selling you on how much money they have. And we know who these guys are. If you've been in the space long enough and you bought enough courses, you kind of know the difference now. During the pandemic, it might have been a little shaky. You know, everything seemed like it was rosy. You figure, guys, listen, when an economy is down, it has no other way to go but up. And I always said it, if influencers can make it past 2025, I can have a conversation, and including myself, because I was ready to jump off the internet at some point. Not that I couldn't make it on the internet, just I didn't really care to be on it anymore like that. Right. So what we did was last year we pivoted, or a couple years from the beginning, we always pivoted and we came off the internet.
Yeah.
We had Telegram, we had Discord. So we always had our own in-house communities, and we're still doing that to this day. So what we're doing is we're forming what we call the People's Bank, right? This is where we never have to look to the outside to be able to get trained, skilled, capital raising. Like, this is everything that I dreamt of, right? Not having to sell things short, letting everybody be involved in it. Now the technology is here to effectively set it up that way where we could have more trust amongst each other, right? Blockchain is a lot more visible. So this is the day in the age that we're in right now. So now that I'm playing with the AI situation, I got a list of businesses, right? Here's how it's going to play out. We're going to set up a DAO, okay? A decentralized autonomous organization, all right? That's the new business formations of the future. So I'm tired of like talking. I'm tired of regurgitating news. I'm just tired of the shit. And I'm sure you guys could get tired of it a little bit too, right? Because it never stops. All right. We're in the right space. We're in the right projects, right? We connect great dots, and hopefully we're leading with a lot of value, which we hear. But we gotta get to this money too, right? Because the having the portfolio is one thing, and we had to wait for so long. I've been waiting 10 years for a lot of this
Yeah.
stuff to materialize. Wallets are just starting to wake up. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, you got to hodl. Like, and I'm talking about hold on for dear life. And not because of pricing, scammers, and you click the wrong thing on your computer. Like, who knows what's happening with this technology? So I always said, I don't want to just be an educator in the space. I don't want to just have a okay portfolio. Um, I want to be able to create something that can be left behind and that everybody could benefit from, whether it's easier for you to manage your portfolio through the app that we built for us by us, um, whether everybody gets in on the DAO, right? So what do I mean by that? I really want to set this up to where we're an incubator, right? Fuck it. Y'all fund the shit. We fund the shit. If I'm the only guy with the ideas, cool. If somebody else could add on to have an idea and we all come together on the AI side and we start to build it, even better. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to sit here and teach all day, right? I want to implement. I still want to lead, but I also want to put people in position to create, right? Because the only thing that's going to keep us going in the future is going to be IP at the end of the day, guys. Like, your intellectual property is something that can't really be reproduced if you know how to hold on to it. And that's what I see the biggest issue is. So even when we're putting in all these prompts into this AI stuff, all we're doing is giving away our IP. They just collected more data, more brain power. You know, every time I put in an idea on the app that I'm building now, they're like, "Oh man, that's a great idea." I'm like, "Yeah, I bet it is." This is how they're talking to me, like it's a real person. That would add more value to your app. Every single thing I put in, right? So we have watch lists for monitoring cryptocurrency. We have price alerts. We have educational learning center. We have multi-currency. So now not only USD, but you can do the euro. You can do uh, everything, Bitcoin, ETH, you name it. I got all the way down to like dark and light themes, right? Depending on the time of day. Two factor right? Two-way.
Yep.
Um, listen, you name it. There's a premium model, there's a free model. You understand? So, and this is one of those things that even if you're not part of the academy and you're part of cryptocurrency, you could find value in that. Now, riddle me this one. This thing goes to market. How many more people do you think are going to be onboarding in cryptocurrency within the next 2 months, 3 months, 6 months? So where we at now? We in the infancy stages? How many customers do we have at our disposal in the future? Billions,
Yep.
right? So now I turn this app around and I'm doing it in a different language. I'm going to Africa with it now. Because why? Because I know the data. I know where people are effectively using cryptocurrency now. How would they benefit from it in other countries if I could communicate that to them in their language? All through a prompt. Literally be in every country with every currency that they want to put in, and it's going to convert it automatically. And now we start charging $5 a month, $60 a year, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
Right. But there's definitely a free version. You download it from the App Store, you in. How much of this shit do you think we could sell together? I'm just asking. So now we talking about job losses now. All right, fuck it. You lose your job because of AI. You just lose your job because of AI. The job wasn't valuable enough. It wasn't an architect position. This is what we're doing at the academy here. This is it. I've been implementing before I was ever in a teaching role, right? So this academy stuff is all new, but if you've been part of it, you kind of know like our systems ain't like a startup. This is like we put a lot of time and effort into what we do. So now there's these agents that we're deploying that's going to start to not only work for us, but now I could build agents to work for you guys. And that's what really this app is. This app is an agent because everybody says they don't have time. I don't have time to research. So what if I gave you an app that the minute that you plugged in your wallets, it knew automatically like, oh shit, Mike has XRP. All right, we're gonna aggregate and push the top data for XRP every day to Mike. So now, Mike, you can just go on. You're not looking at countless news that don't really have anything to do with whatever. And then
Right.
just think about it now with your watch list. We could even integrate something that I thought about. What Champ starts doing these 10-minute cryptos, and then now it automatically links you to getting to our YouTube page now. So that's adding more data back to us, right? And then we can start to work on an AI. Um, now you have a watch list, a watch whale alert. That's another thing for my guys who are trading. We can start to build off this app situation where now you're getting real time data. We have you can do charting and technical analysis in the app also. So now, far from the days of having to go to so many different places, right? We could link with CoinMarketCap API and never have to go over to CoinMarketCap again, ever. So how much time would that effectively save people? So you have the learning component, you have the organizational component. What else y'all need?
That's it.
Now, you know what I need from y'all? I need the People's Bank to come out. What would be the value of this when we're in the App Store at the end of the day and everybody has shares of this situation? Everybody has voting rights. If there's an update that needs to be pushed through, it's like, hey guys, what do y'all think about this? Let's vote. Boom, community talks, yay or nay. We push forward or we don't. And everybody has their own input because if there's 80 something people on this call right here, and then we have over 300 something students in the academy, that means there's a voice, and every single voice matters. I can't
Absolutely.
see everything. When I sit in the road, champ, I tell you, I'm looking at every possibility when I'm building these programs. And I'm building it for the oldest client we have, all the way to the guys and I'm not saying slow bus in a bad way, but shit, like sometimes my car be too fast for me to handle. I gotta jump on a slow bus sometimes. So it's all needed,
Yeah.
right? That's the environment we're cultivating at this academy situation. We have the right administration for this. I'm not saying for everything else. Saying an endorsement, but I'm just telling you, get out of your feelings and just get to this the part that's going to offer you the freedom. You can't fight a revolution without money. You just
Absolutely.
can't. I'm not doing that. I've seen I've seen the ghost of Christmas past with all our leaders who didn't make it past like 40. I'm not taking that role on. I'm cool. I'm needed. And the fight is financial. You see me post all the time. It's not personal, it's just profitable. That's it. They have to feed their kids too. And their kids and their kids. Like, this is the game that they play. So what would you do for your kid at the end of the day? And I'm not saying I'm not at all validating what the hell these evil people do all day. I'm just telling you that we wouldn't let somebody put us in a compromising position that wouldn't allow us to put food on the table.
Sure.
I know I wouldn't, but I wouldn't be taking it in excess from people either. I'm the shit now. And I'm going to say that confidently because this was the missing ingredient. The fact that I could sit here with a bunch of agents who are engineers and database managers and this, and they're just kind of putting the whole thing together. But what I'm not doing is I'm not going into this blind. I want to look at every position. I want to understand what everybody does. The same way when I hire people, I ask a ton of questions. With this Colombian project, man, this attorney, they probably looking at me like I'm nuts because I ask questions to understand the process, not to just acquiesce to what you're telling me I need to do. And then I
Mm-hmm.
find holes in their process to say, nah, man, I play chess with this. So I need to look further out. I don't want to see the picture when you give me the picture because then I can't adjust. I don't trust the professionals. You know what I'm saying? I don't trust the professionals because at the end of the day, when you make the mistake, it's on you, not the attorney, not the doctor, not the scientist, not fucking Fauci, none of those guys. That shit is
Mm-hmm.
on you. And I start to realize when I look back at the pandemic, the very thing that they went after was the employment. And the minute they did that, everybody folded.
Everyone conformed. Yep.
Your ability to make money is being hindered. So now you have this technology, you can't even be mad at any one thing or one person. It's just, all right, what you gonna do? You're gonna upskill, you're gonna retire, you have some investments. You can't earn or save your way to wealth. It just doesn't work like that. And we're in a capitalistic society, so there is no equality in capitalism. None. I don't have a financial background. So I wasn't indoctrinated into the system. So once I realized how the system worked, and then I went globally and I started to dissect and reverse it back, I'm like, oh shit, we're in this, we're playing defense against the devil right now. Like there's no winning that race right there,
Wow.
right? I'm telling you, these are the same guys that trained us. These are the same guys that are giving you your certification. These are the same guys that are paying you every day to do the same goddamn work every single day. Every day. I hear the people arguing about complaining about going to work, complaining like we have to retool our mindset in all things that we do. My wife tells the kids all the time that the way you do anything is the way you do everything.
Yeah.
I thought this shit was just about cryptocurrency, huh? Far from it. So I'm telling you that we have an opportunity right now with this AI situation to not be uh, um, spectators. Sorry, I ain't too quick on the trigger tonight with my words.
Nah, you cooking.
So I'm no longer being a spectator. Like my man Mike says, you can't pull, can't push a bear up a tree and shit, man. I never forget the conversation this guy had with me. And I felt like I was really doing that until you actually sit back and you hear it from somebody and I took it in. And now I'm like over it. I'm like, this shit is every 7 months, there's major advancements in this. Every 7 months it's changing the landscape of the world. And I'm like, wait a minute, why am I like asking people to like do something that they know that you either know you got to do this shit or something's happening or you're just clueless. But I just can't be back there with that crowd doing that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna set up this DAO. We're gonna keep giving you the crypto information, but we're moving. I've been moved into implementation mode. So whether I'm here in the country or wherever, all of this stuff could be done anywhere in the world as long as you have internet connection. All right. So that's the first of the business all of it is an investment at the end of the day. So when I say people's bank, I don't need you to give me $1, right? That's not what I'm saying. There's going to be an opportunity presented for everybody, whether you're an active user in it, whether you're a contributor in the sense of investing in the DAO. This is like ownership now, right? This is how we're looking to set this up. Ashley, I don't know if she's on a call, but she sent me a message yesterday on IG. It was a guy who's in the music industry, and then he owns this platform that decentralizes music. So artists are able to go on there. Champ set up an account. You set up your portfolio. You kind of put your music in. It's right to the end user, right? So
Yep.
not only that, but you can have people investing in your music, and then what happens? It opens up a distribution channel. Long story short, when shit hits my inbox, something happens. I look at it. I connect immediately. What's the first thing I did? I reached out to the guy. Reached out to him. Then sent Champ the information. He dug into the website. Boom, we right there. Now he's coming on to the platform in June, right? Connecting the dots with people who are actually um, making product, not talking about it, actually making product, right? That's going against a machine at the end of the day, right? So we're breaking away from these old systems. That means you have to break away from old thoughts. The hardest thing to do is break consumer behavior. I've been in marketing my whole life. I'm basically a salesman at the end of the day, right? I learned from Tony Robbins. I was sharp to begin with, but raw, right? I've never been that guy that's been indoctrinated in sales and finance, and it's just all kind of self-taught. So there's an innate um, recipe I have that most guys would like question because they were taught, a certain way to read things.
Textbook. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm like Rain Man. I'm the smartest thing I did was the dumbest thing, if you know what I mean. Mike, you could help them later dissect what I'm saying. So for those of you who don't know, we have Mike on now. Mike is going to start to like. Mike has a great way of looking at the world, and he can add a lot of value in just a lot of these conversations that sometimes could be moving too fast for some people. But at the end of the day, for me to slow it down, and then Champ gets it for the rest of the night because I got to go work. I always have to work, but I'm like excited about this.
yeah.
And then Champ just does his thing, so it's always fun to just sit back. Um, let's stop focusing on the obvious, right? Because what you focus on will expand. Let's start to like take this thing a little bit more serious. The links in the bio or the chat, probably in the bio too. Um, AI Visionaries Network. So this Saturday we're back for AI for breakfast. If you're not in the AI group, it's free. So if you're new to the academy, if you're just not if you're in the academy, then you get it automatically. It's part of your membership. If you're not in the academy, I would go ahead and click that link in there and join the free AI group. There's free training on the way in. We're going to start to become more active. This is where I'm going to bring it back to the academy side too, but this is where I'm going to start to build out the businesses, and I'm gonna be super transparent with y'all. I don't care if somebody takes the idea and you start to run with the same thing. Good luck. You know what I'm saying? Like this is what America's about, man. It's all free game at this point. Everybody can get in on the action.
For sure.
Right? It's a huge market share. I don't want all of it. I want everybody to eat. So if you think you got it and you want to rock, go right ahead. If you want to be the spook at the door, and I know who the spooks at the door are, listen, everybody's invited to this party.
Yeah,
I'm never the guy with the non-competes and all this other stuff. I'm like, listen, it's only as good as the attorney you're gonna hire to go ahead and fight the situation. So if you want to go ahead and take ideas and regurgitate and do whatever, good luck. When you have that interview, let's see how much you do know. And at this point, really, the government is like, it's baffling me with these AI laws because there should be disclosures that this person is not real. You understand? You can do it for everything else. You got to show ID to buy this. You got to register to vote at this. You got to register your AI, and you have to disclose that this ain't real,
yeah,
right? That the deep fakes, all this other stuff, this it could be killed. But these tech guys or these tech oligarchs, they don't care about that. All they care about is the money. At the end of the day, it's not personal. So we just have to effectively understand these systems, understand how we can use them, And let's just innovate, guys. We got this is like the best time to be alive too, if you're looking at it the right way.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure every generation went through this, right? Because with the Great Depression, I don't think everybody was depressed because there was a rise of a lot of things that happened during that time. That was an industrial revolution. You know what I mean? Once you come off the worst of times, it could only really go up. So now that we're on this cusp of this fourth industrial revolution, listen, it just is what it is. We know what the technology is. Now you
Yeah.
either gonna lean into it or you're gonna sit the fuck back and just watch everybody else eat. So producers or consumers, you decide on which one you want to be. Because if you want to be a consumer, go ahead, download the app. No problem. If you want to be a producer, go ahead and download the app, but be involved in a different situation. Let's fucking go.
I love it. So, I mean, I don't even know how I'm supposed to get into this crypto stuff after that one.
I mean, this is fucking end the call.
I
Nah, this you
mean,
got
sheesh.
it.
I mean,
Apples
golly.
and oranges. Welcome to cryptocurrency. What you got for us today, champ?
Nah, man, I love it, man. You killed that. You smoked that. So I was just doing a quick deep dive through a couple narratives that's going on right now in the space. And I think the most important, I think, narrative right now is going to be stablecoins, tokenization, and real world assets. So I'm going to walk you guys through some important news that just happened 2 days ago into today. All right. So first things first on the list is going to be Circle actually having its IPO. So this is one of the most watched IPOs, I think, in the crypto space, period, right now. This is Circle's public debut. So the headlines right now are boasting about the $600 million raise at over a $5 billion valuation. But there's a story underneath that's not really being discussed. So here's where we come in. So I'll give you guys the overview and then we'll kind of narrow it down and zero in. So you guys all know Circle is the company that's behind USDC. That's the second largest stablecoin by market cap. It's officially filed to go public under ticker CRCL. All right. And that's going to be on the New York Stock Exchange. Now, the plan behind it is for Circle to sell 24 million shares between $24 and $26 each. That's going to bring in about $624 million at the top end of the range. Now, on paper, this looks like just basically a strong show of confidence. But I actually went deeper. I looked closer. I looked at the numbers. I seen what was going on over the past couple years, and I'm seeing something a little different. So this IPO is definitely not going as smooth as anticipated. But let's break it down. So there's a slogan that my dad loves to tell me. It's the numbers never lie. So I started looking at the numbers. So I went back to 2023 for Circle, right? Circle reported that they had $779 million in revenue, right? But they also reported in that same year it was 780 million in operating costs. So that's a net operating loss. And this is before accounting, taxes, interest, etc. So in my eyes, Circle is burning cash. And even worse, those operational costs, they come despite the fact that they generated most of their revenue from interest income, and that's on the reserves that back USDC. So even though USDC is a viable company, I mean, is a viable coin, stable coin, Circle is a viable company. They're honest, they're transparent, their operating mechanisms, it just looks like they're desperate for a cash grab. So this is where I start to go a little deeper. Now, Circle is carrying so much of an operational debt, and that's the biggest concern when it comes to institutional buyers that are considering the IPO. So Circle has a large, like a real large amount of cash reserves that back USDC, and it's reportedly 100% asset backed with cash, short-term treasuries, etc. The company's own balance sheet points to a whole different picture, right? So I like the fact that they release what's called attestation statements every single month. They've been doing this for a
You need
multitude
help
of
with
years.
that?
Yeah, yeah, that was one of those ones I needed help with that one. Attestation. um, but
I,
basically,
I, I'll jump in next time. I caught it too late.
Yeah. I definitely needed your alley oop on that one. Uh, so basically, this is one of those situations where a company is being honest. They're telling you what's what. They're telling you what the company is backed by, what the stablecoin is backed by, and it looks really good when you are looking at just how a company is operating, right? But when I started looking at the latest filings from 2025, their liabilities exceed $1 billion. And most of that is tied to the operation costs, future obligations, and infrastructure scaling. Now, the biggest part to that is the infrastructure scaling. In order for a company to grow, there's a lot of money and a lot of capital that has to kind of go into the company or a lot of tech. Right now, a lot of that tech is fairly cheaper than usual, right? Because they don't have to hire so many people. They're using actual technology to build this stuff. But when you're dealing with money, you still have to have people to prompt this stuff, to guide the tech, to actually implement it, to tell you the pros and cons. So it's a lot that goes into it. Translation, they need this IPO not just to grow, but to survive. And there's news just a couple days ago that Ripple had outbid Coinbase by $5 billion, right? So before the news came out that they were actually going to really IPO and they filed the documents, the rumor mill that was going around was that Ripple was trying to buy it. Coinbase also put in their bid, but Ripple had a bigger war chest. So they were able to put in a sizable bid, right? Now, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, here's where things get interesting. If Circle is showing you that they have a lot of operational costs, right? And a lot of the money that they're looking to make is being eaten up because they have to burn through so much cash in order to stay afloat and survive. They need one of these two companies, right? So both Ripple and Coinbase approached them trying to acquire them. And I mean, that's the biggest part of this is the favorable exit for the current investors. But Circle turned it down. And the CEO, Jeremy Allaire, him and the leadership team, they basically said they wanted to go at this alone without the help. So I respect it, but here's one of those things you got to look at. Circle has the infrastructure. USDC is the government approved stablecoin. It's the number two in terms of market cap. I have to reiterate that because number one is Tether. Tether doesn't have jurisdiction all around the world to operate, especially because of Mika. There's other laws and bills that are being passed in other countries, other jurisdictions that are also going to cut the legs off Tether. So Tether won't be able to operate in certain regions, right? That's going to hurt their standing. They definitely won't be in number one standing, right? So what I need y'all to understand is when you look at stablecoins and how big this is, the stablecoin market needs to exist. It needs to thrive, but it needs to be trustworthy. This is why Circle holds the crown over Tether, right? But here's the thing. If you've got companies like you had the Terra Luna collapse and there's so much uncertainty around Tether's transparency, the fact that they rejected Ripple and Coinbase's offer, that was super risky financially, but it was strategically bold. I do give that. But just looking at this as a whole, what I'm looking at and I can see I'm talking about from a mile away. Going public doesn't always mean strength. Sometimes it's survival. Then you have Circle betting on itself, which you can assume because they rejected Ripple and Coinbase. These are two big power players. And what they were doing, they were basically trying to favor their own independence, which, anybody can respect, right? Sometimes you just want to kind of keep building, no matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like, you just want to keep going. So I tip my hat to them. But the stablecoin war is heating up because right now everyone is talking about real world assets and tokenization. When you tokenize assets, you have to have something that's stable, that's not fluctuating, that's trustworthy, that people, whether it be actual retail investors or enterprises or governments that's putting billions and trillions of dollars into, it has to be something that's stabilized, right? So you kind of remove that risk. Now, with this situation going on with Circle, this is just a huge turning point, especially in terms of this IPO. And it's not just for the company, this is for the entire stablecoin ecosystem because there's a lot of bold ambition that's going on, rising debt. You've got strategic rejections with these two behemoths. And then you got a marketplace that just isn't forgiving like it used to be. So these next 90 days are going to be crucial for this IPO for Circle. And I think if it does good, no harm, no foul. We still move forward with USDC, it can still be trusted, all is well. But if this IPO doesn't go as well as projected, I definitely think they need to sell the company to Ripple over Coinbase. And then Ripple would just have the infrastructure for both retail and enterprises. So that's that. I mean, that's just my take. But here's the bar. Only time will tell. All right. Now, some news that did come out today that was associated.
You're not moving past that, are you? You moving past the circle thing?
Well, this is complimentary to it. You can if you got something you want to drop, you can go ahead.
Yeah, let me drop a hammer on him.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, so check it. Damn, I was supposed to be off today. All right, so listen, so we got to understand some of the numbers behind these stablecoin situations, right? I think it'll give you a better gauge to
Yeah.
like, because when we hear the word billions, I don't think we really know how much money that is, right? That's a lot to process. All right, so where can I go? All right, so how does Circle make money, right? Or just these stable coins? And this is the part that's going to get y'all because they have access to things that we don't have access to. So this is why I tell you that the way that they're gauging, the way that this political system is going to wrap product around this, we have to be involved in it at not just a level of investing in like being a retail investor, like actually being part of this ecosystem in a way, right? Because there's gonna be a lot of money falling to the waistline. So Circle is pegged by the US dollar, right? So it's supposed to be 1-to-1 backed. Okay. They show us on their website what they hold, what they have, right? You're supposed to have 1-to-1. So if we got, if we got a billion, we got to show that we have a billion in assets to back that. All right.
Yeah.
This is what keeps it stable, right? This is opposite of the banking system right now. So somehow we're going to ask the people who created the banking system to create the new rules behind cryptocurrency. This shit is dumb. Just make me the crypto czar, please. All right. So while they don't earn money directly from people using it per se. Okay. So the way that they profit is from what they do with the reserves, right? Because the reserve could be real estate, the reserve could be bonds, the reserve could be gold, commodities, right? That's the part where people fail to realize it's like, no, you got to look at people's reserves is what's actually making the money. So Grant Cardone, a couple of days ago, his brother's a big Bitcoin guy. They're starting to create a Bitcoin reserve and they're going to take their earnings from real estate and they're going to start to buy Bitcoin with it. You see, this Ponzi scheme is still continuing now. That's not a bad thing because even the real estate, when I was sitting in Detroit before we ended up making moves, I thought to myself, like, damn, if I was just accumulating crypto with the rent money, my basis would be a lot different nowadays. Because where was the money sitting? Inside of a bank, waiting for what? To pay some bills, right? This is what these companies do. They reinvest their earnings into other things. They're not just, their sales don't make payroll. I'll let that go over your head. They operate differently. All right. So here's the revenue sources. Interest on reserves. Peep this. Circle holds about what it was like 30 billion.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Most of it is parked in US Treasuries, and you can pull this data up and you can see it on their website. It tells you where the reserves are. They're in these US Treasuries and they're yielding anywhere between 4 to 5%. That's over $1 billion in passive income. Understand me. So when they're throwing out 3 billion, 4 billion, they can make that in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. They can make that by just holding the treasury, the yields on that. If you didn't go, we have a 10-minute crypto where I talked about bid bonds and this whole treasury situation. This is what's keeping us alive right now in the United States, finding new buyers for this junk at the end of the day. Okay. So they're making $1 billion in passive income with these treasuries. Guess who doesn't get interest like that? We don't.
At all.
They do. See where it's going. So when Warren Buffett is sitting here buying these treasury bonds, he knows that eventually who's going to need them? The banks, because they're all going to be operating with stable coins and they're going to need to hold these in reserve. And who wouldn't buy these if they're giving you 4 to 5% you could earn passively? And I'm not saying every stable coin is going to have $30 billion, but I'm just saying there's going to be a whole lot of them.
Yeah.
All right. So then you got the transaction and the network fees, right? They're going to make certain fees to partners, exchanges. Who else are they working with? Mining companies are paying fees. Okay. And that's because they're redeeming USDC. So this is why you want to gear up to be the biggest player in the stablecoin market. Okay. So when they're throwing out 3 billion, 4 billion, 5 billion, 6 billion, they're not even flinching at the shit, talking about, oh, we're going public at whatever the valuation is going to be. Now they go public. They got to get the power up to who? Vanguard, BlackRock,
Yep.
State Street, right? Berkshire. Like we know who the list of people are that are going to own this company. All right. So then now you have to ask yourself, why is Coinbase and Ripple going out to buy this, throw this number out there? One, I think Coinbase might just be on some old, they ain't got it like that. You know what I mean? I think it's just something to kind of throw out there. But
Yeah.
can they actually do the transaction? I don't know. All right. It could just be just to keep their name. And, some people just do things for promotion. So owning Circle for either one of those companies or any company that's already in crypto is controlling the printing press.
There you go. There you go.
We could probably end it after this when you finish your other stuff. I know you got a list of stuff, but I think
Yeah, nah. Yeah, that's perfect.
this might be just powerful in its own.
Yeah.
So now you have a number one, you have a guaranteed yield engine. So if they have 30 billion, they're making $1 billion a year. If you pay $6 billion, that means in 6 years, if you didn't do nothing else, you can make the money back. Is that not a good business? And mind you, when that billion is coming back per year, what do you think they're doing with that billion? Buying Bitcoin on a loan, right? XRP reserve. Who knows what they're doing with that? That's coming from the government direct. Where's the government getting the money to pay for this? Print and press? Taxpayers.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Just checking. So what happens is whoever buys it is like a bank with no lending risk, right? Banks give us this mortgage. Damn, shit is risky. Some people might not pay it. Car loans, like all types of stuff. It's not like guaranteed for these people to get the money. Look at Klarna; they're showing losses. All those burritos people put on layaway, or that's not even called layaway. Credit.
Credit, yeah. Yep.
You paid a burrito 2 months ago. Like you ain't trying to pay that. Yo, this is crazy. And they just wanted to go public. So what they wanted to do was they just wanted to ramp up, their customer base. But I'm like, yo, short Klarna is
Word.
dead. And I knew it a long time ago too. I should have put a long ass short on that thing. I'd seen Klarna. I go to the mall. I'll see it at Foot Locker at the register. I'm like, wait a minute, no way, no way. This thing is all over the mall. This ain't good.
Yeah.
But to each its own. Sounds smart till it's not. All right. So then you have strategic control over the stablecoin infrastructure now by owning this. I told Champ the other day, I'm like, yo, dudes ain't getting no money with that stablecoin situation, but we don't know what they do in the background.
Right.
That's why I kept telling you that Tether shit ain't gonna collapse that easily because they're holding a lot of these treasuries right now.
Mhm.
You understand? And if think about it, if you could own the print and press, and this is what Tether's doing, they're not back 1 to 1. They just go and mint. And what do they do when they mint? They buy what?
Bitcoin.
And then what happens to the price of Bitcoin?
It peaks.
Okay. And
Spike.
then do you think they play the derivatives market or not?
For sure.
All right. So now they're market makers.
Yep.
So they make money on it going up.
Yep.
And then when they sell it, you think they have a long or a short out on it?
A short. They make money on it going down too.
Okay. All right.
Facts.
All right. So stay with me. So now when you buy this particular stable coin, this is global now. Okay. Crypto is global. It's not USDC is not for just America. It could be exchanged into any currency, any crypto, right? It's easily you can swap this thing.
Yeah.
So now we're talking about a monetary system that can convert in seconds, right? We could all benefit off of that. Okay, so if they own this stable coin, either one of them, it puts them years ahead of all banks and fintech companies, right?
Mm-hmm.
$30 billion. You're
Yeah.
light years ahead of any bank and any fintech, which would, PayPal, Stripe, Cash App. I'm watching all of this be built, guys, like right in front of us. Yes, you're part of an infrastructure project. No, do not go and buy USDC thinking it's going to go up in price. I've had students do this with RLUSD. It's a stable coin. It will never go past $1.02, maybe sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It maybe drop to 98, 99, and it might get depegged if it ain't doing the right thing.
Real
All
talk.
right. So here's the thing you guys have to realize as the government start to delay these CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, right? Because that's supposed to be what the government's supposed to, that's supposed to be like the on ramp for governments. I don't agree that we should have any of them, but I'm just telling you that the delays are causing other people to create businesses. Why can't we have a black owned stablecoin company?
We can.
We can't, right? We can't do it. It's
Shit.
impossible.
I think we definitely could do it.
All right, cool. Just checking.
Yeah.
Um, so USDC, while you're waiting on these regulations, they fill the void that's needed in the market right now. Tether fills a void that's needed in the market right now. Whether they belong here or not, if they're doing right or wrong, it doesn't matter. Do we not need them to do what we need to do right now?
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
All right. So then the other point is going to be like data and compliance. Okay. Whoever owns Circle controls the most compliant, regulated, approved stablecoin. So if the United States is going to be the crypto capital of the world and they're going to control this, the petrodollar 2.0 that we talked about the other day. This is what stablecoins are considered.
For sure.
They don't care who's the leader. You just want every country to on ramp through something that's controlled by the United States because why? They have to buy the treasury bonds. So we can still hold the world, the dominant currency now.
Yeah.
It'll just be in a digital form. This is where China and Russia is messing up right now.
Yep.
Right? This is where when Africa gets on board and they start to, man, listen, make me the crypto czar of Africa right now.
So much opportunity.
So much.
Man.
This one might not be able to go to YouTube. Maybe there's a reason why we didn't go live.
Real talk.
This might be one of those, if you were on it, you knew. If you weren't, we might have to hold this in the tuck for later. All right. So here's why Ripple and Coinbase could benefit more than Circle on this one. Circle don't have an array of shit at all.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Circle is a single product company. I told you that the other day, Chad. I'm like, that shit is whack, man. I wouldn't want to own a stable coin if I was in crypto. I'd want to be in I'd go for an exchange.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
The flows.
I'm in that derivatives market. That's what I want to go after. All right.
Yeah.
So they benefit more because they have an array of things. So you're going to gain a user base, right? You have now a financial infrastructure piece to your company, exchanges, payment rails, custody services. This is all stuff that's happening through stablecoin.
Yep.
Now, what they get to do too is they can lock in the user activity because there's already activity happening with this 30 billion and it's growing. They reduce dependency on external stablecoins because right now they have to depend on these guys. So it could be a war at some point, right? Because it is a free market. They don't have to like give you anything.
Yep.
Circle or Coinbase and Ripple, Coinbase more than Ripple can monetize USDC inside of their ecosystem. Ripple could find a million ways to do it too, but I'm just saying from there's an easier way of thinking,
Yeah.
right? Because you look at Coinbase now, you can't on ramp through Tether. They delisted that. You see what I'm saying? Now, if they wanted to do a power move, you see there's a fight between the these elite now, right? The Amazons, the Facebooks, the Googles, they're all in war with each other,
Yeah.
right? So what if Coinbase decided to say, you know what, we're going to delist USDC? Oh shit, changes the game,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now they go to whatever they go to, or they created their own. What would it do to the value of USDC? But here's the problem. A lot of these guys that are connected with Circle are also connected with Coinbase. Institutional investors, whether you're an angel investor, whether you're on the public side or the private side, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They're getting it from both ends. Pause.
Pause. That's true. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's true.
You get a call from Larry Fink. It's a different conversation.
Absolutely.
See, I got no water. All right. So you can monetize it. You gain political leverage, right? They're working alongside of the political system here in America. So you become the digital dollar backbone by owning this thing.
I like that.
You like that?
I like that right there. That's fire.
So Circle basically earns yield from USDC, right? Coinbase and Ripple or whoever else is going to buy it would earn ecosystem dominance from it. I'd squeeze them. I'd pull a Terra Luna on them.
If you were Coinbase.
Straight up.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'll
I
start
can
to
see
assert my dominance, but they sold out a long time ago.
right.
That's
Definitely,
why they don't let guys like us in the room.
definitely in bed with the government. Yep.
But
Yeah.
you got to play the game to stay in power. So I get it. My coin would have been clipped. My coin is best suited for West Africa right now.
Word. Nah, that's a super dope take.
That's all I got. I messed up my work time, man. I'm supposed to be on AI right now.
Yeah, nah, man. Listen, I'm a kick this little spill real quick, and then I'm out the way. We'll
Nah,
we'll
but
let
you
you.
had a couple good other points though.
Yeah, nah. I mean, this is it. I think this is what I'm gonna end it with. This is it. So you were talking about the players, right? And the positioning of what USDC is, right? In the entire ecosystem. So the biggest player right now, and nobody was talking about this. I was perplexed today to see this. So BlackRock is eyeing
What's
Circle's
that word?
BlackRock.
Before that, perplexed,
Perplexed,
like confused almost.
confused. Yeah, yeah.
Like that.
That's it.
Good
You
word.
like that one right there.
Yeah.
So listen, BlackRock said they want 10% of all of the shares that's offered for this IPO. Now, this was verified by Bloomberg. Now, at first glance, this just sounds like another investment by the world's largest asset manager. But
Wait,
truthfully,
they want 10% of what?
they want 10% of the IPO, all of the shares that's going to be offered.
You see what I'm saying? These are the same guys that went to Ripple and was flexing their muscle at the end of the day, because the advantage that these guys have is when you don't give them the 10%, you don't get regulatory clarity.
Facts.
Like things just kind of get held up for you.
Mm-hmm.
The game they playing right there.
Yep.
So they hijack Coinbase. They can't do anything with Ripple because you can see Ripple has a war chest.
Man.
They're the ones, BlackRock and Vanguard, they're the ones behind what orchestrated the government taking Ripple in and tying the thing up.
For sure.
Because they just wouldn't acquiesce. And they felt that, listen, 4 or 5 years, $500 million, nobody does that with the SEC and wins.
And wins.
And
yeah,
is able to still operate their business and still make billion-dollar purchase moves at the lowest point of the economy right now. This is the time that you expand. Big fish eat little fish.
Yeah, that's power. Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Sorry to cut you off.
No.
They want 10% now. They're just demanding it.
They want 10%.
For
All
how
right.
much?
I'm looking at this. So let me run you through the gamut. Look, check this out. So this is strategic, right? And it's not quiet by no means, right? But they're literally trying to rewrite the blueprint to financial infrastructure. BlackRock, world's largest asset manager, period, on earth. 10 trillion assets under management. They control money markets, ETFs, retirement funds, crypto related financial products. You've seen they did basically they filed and won the iShares Bitcoin Trust with the IBIT. That's the world's largest Bitcoin ETF. And then Larry Fink, the CEO, he's been going on every possible platform to tell everybody that the next iteration is tokenization. That's basically when you put traditional financial assets like bonds, stocks, real estate, whatever, all on chain, and it's happening. So think about it like this. If you own a 401k, a Vanguard ETF, pension index fund, chances are BlackRock is somewhere in the mix, right? Now, for them to come out during this ETF, I mean, this IPO and say, we want 10% of it, that's wild. So this is 100% about tokenization, period. Because to want 10%, that means you want infrastructure. USDC, like Steve said, is the most regulated, transparent, and widely integrated stablecoin in the world, right? It's basically the plumbing for on-chain finance, and it's already embedded into hundreds of DeFi protocols, wallets, exchanges, etc. Right? So through BlackRock's lens, you're not just looking at another crypto company. This is you're literally owning the future Fedwire, the future Swift, or the future ACH, right? The way money is moving. You're trying to corner and buy huge pieces of the infrastructure puzzle. With this move right here, if they actually buy 10%, that's not where they're going to stop. They're just going to buy the 10% during the IPO. Then they're going to continue to push money and capital into it. And then Circle is going to basically become a damn toll booth. This is nothing but an alignment play, like no matter how you look at it. Because if BlackRock is leaning super hard in the tokenization, and they've been super open about it. So, and this is over the last, I want to say, year and a half, he came out with the quote and said tokenization is going to revolutionize the financial system, enabling 24/7 markets, instant settlement, and complete transparency. Now, we already knew this was going to happen with cryptocurrencies that exist. But with those cryptocurrencies, they are volatile. They go up and down in price. That's not what they want to use when it comes to these big transactions that's going to happen. You can use the cryptocurrencies all you want. We need bridge currencies. We need peer-to-peer transactions. We need oracles to give us real-time pricing. All of these pieces are literally pieces to the puzzle. But what they're doing is they're tokenizing treasury bonds. They're going to settle it probably with USDC because we're talking about BlackRock here, 10 trillion in assets. They're going to do it all on a blockchain. Basically, you take away the middleman, you clear and settle everything instantly, and you reduce in cost damn near to zero. So now all of the operating costs that BlackRock is experiencing using this old antiquated system, now they're going to use the future of finance, stablecoins. This is why the ecosystem is so big. This is why this IPO matters. You know what I mean? Like, because it's all about the stablecoin. If you acquire a chunk, a circle, that's like buying early shares of digital payment rails. Basically, that's underpinning trillions of dollars in tokenized transactions over the next 10 years. So, like, no matter how you spin this, USDC could basically become the new dollar, which we've been told you guys a long time ago. Circle could basically become like a central bank of Web3. And then BlackRock owns 10% of that. Come on now. They're telling you that this is a blueprint. This is strategic, however they're moving. And again, no matter how you look at this thing, this institutional money that they're playing with right now to want 10% of that is nothing. It's literally pennies to them. Because when we actually get tokenization in the next 5 years, 10 years, it's going to grow so fast and so exponentially that you have to use stablecoins, and it's going to be everything, every asset, everything of value, all going on chain. And it's going to take years to do this, right? But it's happening now. It's not like this is like just me throwing something randomly out. This is actually happening right now as we're on this call. There's transactions being made right now from government to government, and they're using these stable coins. They're using these digital assets to do it, and it's completely removing costs, and they're doing it at scale like that. So all of that to say, this institutional capital that's literally about to start running through this ecosystem is about to be wild. So this is definitely not your time to check out. I'm gonna load this, right? We always load this. We load this to YouTube. When the rest of the world hears this, I know everybody that's here, we're not worried about you guys. We know you're here. You're locked in, you're dialed in. There's some people who will hear this information and won't do anything. They might get scared. They might just be overwhelmed. They might just not know how to actually move. Maybe sometimes you get a paralysis off the information. But when you get news like this, when things are going mainstream, you've got the biggest players in finance all rushing into crypto, and everybody is trying to take a piece of the puzzle and just make those connection points. This is when you have to be in position. You have to. Steve, you created something a couple days ago. You were doing $1. You're doing $1 for the first month.
Yeah, so what we're doing, and if you're new in the academy, we have a first month trial now. So we sent out an affiliate program that we revamped, and that's part of the incentive now. So we know how difficult it could be to get friends and family to sign up. So what we're doing now at the academy, just the on ramp, right, is $1 for the first 30 days. So they get to get in, and it's basically a trial month at the end of the day. So with the assistance of Academy students, it's going to help us grow this people's bank at the end of the day, right? As much as I would love to keep it small and quaint, I know that there's power in numbers, right? It's just there's a lot of I still have friends and family that aren't really coming around, but they're coming around a little bit more now, right? Because they're hearing it at work. You know, I got guys calling me all day now, like, oh man, that shit you was talking about a couple years ago. Look at this, and they're sending me in office emails and like correspondence. One of my friends, he went to something that was actually hosted by shit. I want to say Vanguard, and it was actually in Georgia, champ Atlanta. Donnie went the other day,
Wow.
and he told me last minute, but you had to be part of a membership to actually get into it, and it was all about cryptocurrency. So he was filling me in on the situation.
Yeah.
And it's here. You know what I mean? So, I have guys who never checked for it for 10 years, and now they're in the academy, they're in the group. So it's easier now because they're hearing it, and not just from news cycle, like internally at work, like people are paying attention.
Yeah.
So, and then they're just telling all the financial guys now it's like 5% of your portfolio needs to be allocated to crypto. Some places it's 10%. Some it's even like 15.
Yeah.
So even 5 is a lot, guys. When you think about the trillions of dollars under asset management, like when they start to do it, that's across the board. So there's this new money that's about to come into crypto now that this is when we tell you like this shit happens overnight. So even when XRP went to 380, what
86.
in a span of how many weeks, like what percentage did it go
38,000. It was I forgot the exact number, but it was 38,000%
in less than 30 days, guys?
in
And
less than
back
30 days.
then, God knows that news is nowhere near where we at right now.
Near the partnerships, none of it.
Right. So when we tell you don't focus on Bitcoin so much, I'm not saying don't invest in Bitcoin. What I'm saying is don't make it your focus, because what happens is it dilutes everything else that's happening out here. There's not a Bitcoin maxi pad dude that could come on here and even add to this conversation with Circle. They just don't analyze anything else but Bitcoin, and then they're highly ignorant.
Mhm.
Yeah, great. If I had a $10,000 position or even a $200 position when I first came into it, I might love Bitcoin too, but not enough to like tell people to mortgage their homes at 100K, and even if it went to a million, so what? He just told you 38,000% in less than 30 days. What is a 10x at this point? If you don't have those good entry points, even if this thing got, if it lost 50%, these guys are still good. But I'm not sold on it. I'm actually, and listen, I'll be honest, I used to be one of those XRP army guys where it was just like, yo, I didn't want to hear nothing else. You know, I didn't make the shift into like cryptocurrency, like opening my lens until the lawsuit happened and I panicked. You know, I'm like, what the hell's going on here? At the time, we didn't know. You know, the whole thing was like bullshit, but it was like, oh, it slowed the thing up. I
Right.
went over, I sold, I swapped, I went over to ETH, and I'll tell you, I learned so much from that platform because XRP back then didn't have that array. You know, there was no stable coin. There was no, you know, we kind of knew what it was gearing up towards, but it was far from like becoming a reality. So with ETH, what I got to see was I got to see a lot of layer, you know, some layer projects
Hmm.
that kind of showed me the future of innovation.
Yeah.
And since then, it's been nonstop. This is how we're able to bring you guys, you know, this sort of information. Now, on top of it, we just kind of played around in the market a lot, like cowboys. I was losing ETH left and right, but we was also in on it at like $17, so it wasn't like a whole lot of shit either. So
Right.
when I saw the rise of the meme coin, I'm telling guys like, yo, listen, you going up against people who are sitting on a lot of profit right now. You FOMOing in with like real money. We are kind of like playing with house money over here. So I saw the exit liquidity in a lot of ways in cryptocurrency because that's all it really is built on. For every winner, there's a loser.
A loser. Yep.
So I'm just telling you that we don't really focus on that part because once we focus on um, the foundation of it and what it's really put here for, then you start to see the real power behind it. You understand? And then now all these partnerships are coming out the woodworks right now. So basically, what they're doing is, like Champ said, is they're rewriting the financial infrastructure rules, and everybody is in position to hold position. But damn, if we create a black and brown stable coin, man, listen, I'm
Yeah, man.
telling you, we could leverage. They keep saying we got the spending power of most countries.
Yep. Real talk.
I hate to believe that because we're not well off as a collective.
Mm-mm.
So we get money, we spend money. We get money, it leaves the community within seconds. That means we don't have infrastructure. That means we don't have stability. That means we don't have discipline. That means we don't have camaraderie. They did a
Yep.
number on us. I'm gonna start a stable coin. I had a product, and I pulled this up earlier.
You got share.
Damn it, I just deleted it from let me share this with y'all. Matter of fact, take us out. Let's go camera off.
Oh, okay. All right. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, that has been Dot Connect Wednesdays, episode 95. Today, we witnessed a bunch of strategic moves. We talked about some great innovative things in the digital finance and culture. All right. It's been Circle goes public, take stablecoins mainstream, BlackRock invests, giving crypto the biggest nod yet from traditional finance. And we've got more in store for you guys, just like we always do. So we will see you guys next week, same time, same place. Always, always, always like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you guys keep those notifications on. And again, just for $1 for the first month, we welcome you guys with open arms. All right. For you to join Skyton Academy. All right. The link is going to be down in the description below. We'll see you guys.